last episode of my 900 manual swap, we went ahead and removed the engine and transmission from the car. After doing that, I realized just how dirty this was. What I want to do today is just take a couple hours here, hopefully only a couple hours, and just clean this up because I don't think any of this in here has really ever been cleaned before. There's debris everywhere. There's obviously lots of fluids everywhere. There's zip ties. We've got some O-rings, washers, just tons of random stuff. So I've got just about everything zip tied up and out of the way already. So after we do that, I want to also go ahead and clean the engine. I don't think this will be as bad to do because it's mostly just dusty and a little bit gross. It does have some oil on it, obviously in a few different spots, but this is not nearly as bad. I have a variety of different tools and scrubbers here I'm going to use. This is going to be to get all the hard stuff off. I have just these generic like dish scrubbing brushes I got from Walmart for like $3. I have some brake cleaner, which I'm not going to use on the engine bay. I'm only going to use that on the engine. And I have Simple Green, which will hopefully be enough to get off most of the stuff in the engine. I'm going to put some trash bags underneath both of them just to catch all the crud and stuff that falls out so I don't make even more of a mess on the garage floor. One other thing I got are these shop towels just from Harbor Freight. I'll use these to kind of clean up a lot of this fluid and some of the bigger pieces before I get to scrubbing. I'd say the first part of the clean is done, the heavy duty part of the clean, which was just scrubbing all of this down, getting as much of the grease and rocks and debris out as I could. The worst parts was definitely in the axle holes and the holes where the rack comes through. You can just see how much stuff was in those little holes. So they're not perfect, but about 98% of what was in there is out. So next, I think it's time to start spraying it with some Simple Green, use the shop rags, and hopefully try and clean this up and get the rest of this stuff off. It's been 3.5 long, tiring hours, but the difference that this made was well worth doing it in the heat. I'm super, super happy with how this turned out. I mean, just looking in here, you can see, just to verify, there's not a speck of rust on this engine bay, on this car. And who knows, part of that could have been good old rust prevention that was coating it that I just spent 3.5 hours cleaning off. But I mean, just look at how good this turned out. Definitely have a pretty big mess to clean up under here from all the debris that fell down, as well as some of the debris that I missed. I definitely think this was the more tedious and time-consuming job of the two. I just cleaned up all the trash bags and swept under here. There's probably about 10 pounds worth of crap in this bag that got cleaned out of here, so weight reduction as well. But next, let's go ahead and do this. I'm pretty much just gonna put a trash bag under here and probably just blast a lot of it with brake cleaner and use those scrubbing brushes if I need to. First, I should probably clean them a little bit though, but let's get to it.
Whoa, I don't wanna take you home with me. You're playing, can't bother reading your message. No, I'm not here for your show, wasn't asking. But I've been quitting what you're taking. I've been sipping cause I'm making no regrets, I'm not a system. Just go and be what you will, I'm not missing you, yeah. I'm backing down with all this shit you told me. Just regretting that I met you, damn you hold me down. All my fortune's just been wasted or gone. Oh, you made me feel alone. You thought there's a cure, I went and let you be. I don't wanna take you home with me.
I thought that this was going to be the hard and tedious part, but this is turning out to be, in some ways, just if not more tedious. So there's a lot less to clean here, obviously, but a lot of this stuff is just so stuck on here that even the brake cleaner and scrubbing, and even with the scraper, it won't come off. Good example is this little VIN plate, whatever this badge is right here on the top of the transmission. I've been scrubbing that for 2 or 3 minutes, and that's as good as I can get. I'm gonna keep going at it, but this is not gonna look as clean as I wanted it to, I don't think. That's with just about 2 cans of brake cleaner, just to get that looking like that. The top obviously wasn't nearly as dirty, so that cleaned up really, really nice. I'm gonna go over it one more time. This back side here I'll go over again as well. You can see there's some oil right there, so that's where I need to address my oil leak in a future video. And then down over here, this whole side of the transmission is absolutely filthy as well. So what I'm gonna do is pretty much just use the rest of my brake cleaner and probably just call it there. So I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Really, the old transmission, or I should say the new transmission that's going in, is the part that still needs the cleaning. That's obviously all caked in oil, but the motor itself is pretty clean. I mean, the valve cover looked pretty bad before, and now it's all cleaned up, so super happy about that. The intake manifold is looking nice and silver and shiny again, so that's pretty sweet. I also went ahead and cleaned a few parts that were pulled off the motor when we removed it. Most of them are just intake and intercooler piping hoses for the most part, but this one cleaned up pretty good. It was all black and gross before. More to come on this swap. Got lots to do still, including finishing mating up the manual transmission to the motor. We've got to do a ton of interior work. We've also got to fix a couple oil leaks. I want to do an oil change as well, and lots of other stuff. But I'm super stoked, super happy with how this turned out. That being said, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.
Take it easy.